And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. So tonight, I actually have two special guests with me. I have the people who is in charge of Dixieland. I have the writer-producer, J. Scott Worthington, and I also have director, William Hellmuth. And if you don't know who they were actually on my show about 2 years ago on this day. Well, actually, I actually reviewed a movie 2 years to this day, and then I interviewed them later on for their movie Alone. But still, it's an honor and privilege to have them back on the show again to talk about Dixieland. I can't wait to get this party started. So let's go on ahead. Let's welcome them to the show and let's do it. And hey guys, welcome back. I do appreciate this. This is an honor.
Thank you. Yeah, no, the pleasure is ours. We're happy to be. We loved
Absolutely.
our conversation with you with Alone a couple years ago, and we've been talking with each other about how excited we are to reconnect.
Yeah, thank you for having us back.
I'm very excited about this. Back again, but just like Eminem. But anyways, I just want to. But dude, this movie is phenomenal. I just want to ask you guys this. Okay, so what sold me immediately was like, okay, as soon as I get the email from William, Tony Todd's in this. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm in. I'm down for this. It's a period piece that takes place during this time and everything, and I'm a huge history nerd too. So this resonated with me. So my question is this, coming right out of the gate. Was it always Tony Todd that you wanted for this role, or was it just happens to be you just got lucky on a whim and everything? I reached out to Tony Todd. Hey man, we got this role. Can you go on ahead and do this? So what was that like?
So it was a process, and Jay, feel free to jump in here. But I mean, initially, the initial script, the character of Chuck was just a union physician. He wasn't necessarily a black physician, and they were about the same age too. And then through conversations that Janet kept having, we started kind of brainstorming and came up with the idea like it would make everything way more interesting if Chuck was a black physician. Just trying to push them as far opposite as possible. It also made it more challenging for us to make as artists, which was exciting. And we spent a while kind of thinking about potential actors who could do this. We always wanted to go from the beginning. We wanted to try to get someone for Chuck that was a little like kind of a little bit of a known entity.
But for a long time, we were trying to keep the ages pretty similar, if I remember right. So it wasn't the Tony thing came up thanks to actually kind of Williams.
Right. I shot a movie. Shot a movie last fall. It was a feature film, and I was the DP on it. And Tony was one of the leads in the movie. And he and I kind of bonded during the movie. We became friends, and I started, like, I started imagining, like, well, what if Tony was Chuck? Like, he's definitely older than what we pictured. But like, so one day I texted Jay about it, and right away Jay was like really stoked because it turns out Tony was in. I don't want to butcher this, Jay, but is one of your favorites.
Oh, yeah, I get sci-fi hat coming back here, which is always my go-to. He was the lead in one of my favorite Star Trek episodes of all time, from Star Trek Deep Space Nine's The Visitor, where he plays Jake Sisko in an older form. A lot of time travel shenanigans, but his performance was incredible, and that was for me growing up. So when I hear that Tony might potentially be interested, I lost my mind over the idea.
Yeah. And then, that it was kind of cool because, we just like all the evolutions of the character just made him more interesting, where it's like, well, now he's a black physician. Well, now he's an older man, black physician too.
He has all this lifetime of experience to pull on as opposed to being younger. It just changes the dynamic, but he was always getting more complex.
Yep. And so like, I kind of pitched it to Tony after Jay was on board, and Tony was like right off the bat, really, really interested in it. He loves doing, little passion projects like this. And so we sent him the script, or I just sent it to him right after the movie was done. And right away, he actually started texting a buddy of mine who co-starred with him in the movie about the script, how much he loved it. And then he started texting me about it and, how much he loved it. And yeah, I mean, and that's how it happened. From there, we cast him and went and made the movie a couple months later.
And you see, I think that's a good thing to actually have someone that's a little bit older, because it gives them that much right to be in the Civil War, fighting for their freedom, and definitely being someone that is part of the armory, basically, where he's trying to heal and help people. And him being in this war for so many years, it actually does something to somebody. So I think it actually does make sense for him to be in this film because of his age and because of the fact that you don't know how long he's been out on that battlefield to fight for his rights or anything like that either. Yeah. So I think it pulls out layers of his character and the characterization of who that character is. I think you guys nailed it very well with casting Tony Todd for this role.
Cool. Good. Yeah, we
did it.
More happy to be there. We're really thrilled with his performance, and he's a great guy. So working with him was great too.
I bet it was. Like, he scares the crap out of me on Candyman, and then especially whenever he plays in Final Destination. But it just goes to show you the layers that he has. He's more than just that horror icon. He can do other things besides that. Yes, that's what he's known for. But the fact that you managed to pull that out of him and make us care about this war soldier that we're just introduced to for like a good 5, 15, 20 minutes, it actually does something, especially whenever he meets the other guy that's inside that little tunnel, and you don't know the story of this other guy. He's meeting him for the very first time. And I like the whole entire introduction of the characters. Well, you know what, man? I'm just going to go now. You go my way, and I'll just leave you over here. No. He wants a visitor there to see him for one last time, to tell him what he did, and to basically say, I want to know if everything's okay. That's what I got out of it. And
I think that's a good take. Yeah, this guy like needed to get this off his chest for searching for some form of not redemption, but confession. Like he even says, I'm not a priest, but
I just want to take a moment and really call out the actor who played that, Philip Orazio, because he brought so much. It's a very, very, very tricky role, being that guy opposite Tony, and basically being a bad guy almost by default, but finding a way to weave in these touches of humanity and doubt and guilt and all this complexity, and giving Tony something incredible to work off of. Like, watching those two together was magic, and they both kind of brought their A game to their roles respectively. So I was just a bystander.
What was incredible directing them, kind of going off what Jay was saying, they were giving 100% all of the time. When the camera was on Philip, Tony was giving him everything he had. Like, I'm watching Tony and he's got tears in his eyes, even when the camera's not on him. And the same, when I flip around and it's on Tony, Philip's giving it 100% too. And they were just constantly they were between takes, I'd hear them whispering words of encouragement, we were having sound background, big issues with background noise in our location, and it was very distracting for them. But I'd hear them just talking to each other, we're not going to let that win, we got this. They've just locked in so well. And Philip is just it's challenging on multiple levels what he was doing, because he not only was he needing to, like Jay said, bring humanity to this person that we're kind of all automatically just going to hate, so he didn't make him cartoonish. He brought in all these layers. He and I had some great discussions in pre-production before we filmed, and just my very first conversation with him, I just knew oh man, yeah, this is going to be great. So that was already difficult, but then also playing opposite someone like Tony Todd, who just has so much
presence, right?
Yeah, such a presence. It's not easy.
Gravitas.
Yeah, gravitas. But I just felt like at every turn they were just just eye to eye, neck and neck, just right with each other.
That's definitely.
So
I could definitely see the chemistry between the two of them, especially with him being inside that area, and basically you don't realize until later on he's gotten shot, but you don't know why he got shot or anything. And I like how basically Tony Todd's character is look, I can actually help heal you. No, this is my time. This is when I need to die. And I need to find my peace, but I need to basically, if you think about it, if you look at it from this end, he's kind of like confessing to a priest, but he's not a priest, but he's confessing to the nearest person that he could find that happens to just be there. So he's basically trying to just say, look, man, I just need someone to say it's going to be okay. I'm here for you. I'm just going to listen to what I have to say because I have all this guilt all built up inside of me to the point where I'm going to bust if I don't. And then I like how he wind up seeing the general's gun, the shotgun in the background. We see it, and at first I didn't see it until like the second time viewing it because I was just paying so close attention to the two characters. I noticed in the background there's the shotgun, and he's like, "Yeah, I took that off a war general," and he said, so basically, you could definitely see the anger in Tony Todd's character to the point where he basically wanted to kill him right then and there. He said, "What gives you the right to have this gun, this rifle? What gives you the right?" And then he actually crossfires back with them whenever Tony says, "Well, I'm against the war." Because, well, if you're against the war, then what are you doing here? Because I think there's other ways I can save people aside from shooting someone. I can help someone heal. And so it has that counterbalance of them basically confronting their own guilt, their own struggles and stuff like that with each other as well. That was really good.
Yeah, I mean that's all Jay, just working in that perfect balance there, like two people who were really opposed in every way. You couldn't get further into the spectrum, but still finding a way for them to have some connection there.
See each other as human.
Yeah.
And let me just say this, Will, too. You have this way of actually doing one room scenarios to the point where you can see everything. Like, it was so dark in that tunnel. I don't know how you were able to capture everything you did, but the lighting was fantastic.
Thanks.
I was able to see everything. You have a presence about you as a filmmaker, because I even told you this about Alone, where normally in some areas, whenever it's a one-room scenario, especially in dark places, it is dark. You managed to have a way of lighting stuff up where it had no business being lit up. And you illuminate that, and it goes through the characters as well whenever they have that presence. So I just want to say the lighting in it was fantastic. The camera angles, the way you had everything, I really enjoyed it.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean it's a very this was a very naturalistic approach because it's period film, and so all the lighting had to feel like it was kind of motivated, coming from somewhere, just that fire. But then obviously there still needs to be light. So my philosophy is always like visual anchors. As far as light goes, like you got to put light in just the right places so that people, even if it's really dark, the mind, it doesn't start to feel like kind of this soupy mess because you're giving the eyes something to kind of latch onto.
Right.
But yeah, and also I have to give a shout out to the colorist of the film too, Wes Langdon, who, I mean, I was director and DP on this, and there was just a lot of I'm just doing the best I can on both fronts, and Wes was really able to go in there in the color grade and just make a lot of what I did look so much better. And I knew we started working together before we even shot the film, and so he worked out like a custom look that I could load into the camera, so that while we were shooting, I was kind of shooting with a pre-graded image, and it gave me an idea of what it was going to look like when he got it in the grade. But another advantage of having someone like that, a colorist who I really trust, is that I know how far I can push the footage and push the camera and things like that. I know this really well. So when we're shooting and I don't have time to boost light levels over here or whatever, I know like I can take a quick look at the information on the camera and just know like, well, Wes can pull that out. We can do, here's what we
That's always great.
And yeah, it's a combination of, I'm a big believer in getting exactly the image I want in camera, but there are times when in a pinch, it's good to know that someone on the other side can help me out a bit. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah, good. sorry to interrupt. A good example of this specifically, just like a little like insider, but there's a key moment where they're talking about the bands on his shoulder, and they're, it's pointed out that they're green, and in color grading, I remember this distinctly, like our color grade for whatever reason was making that green kind of fade slightly in what we were doing with the rest of the color. And so working with Wes, having to figure out just the right balance and way to tweak and bring up that color correctly. It's like watching magic happen in front of you, just the way that you can play around with the depth and the color and the choices and everything.
It's fun.
That's definitely, because I see the authenticity behind that whole entire thing, where it was hard to illuminate that kind of image, because even I was thinking like, okay, this is kind of a little bit thin, but at the same time, out on that warfield and everything, it could become a little damaging and stuff like that too, to the point where it's like, okay, this guy's been through hell and back. You can definitely tell with just his costume alone. So it definitely fits in with the build, even though if it may not have shown through. I thought that the wear and tear would actually be enough though as well. But to see those colors and seeing them recognize, oh, you were hot in a high anarchy than anybody else was, stuff like that too. I thought that was really a good way of actually balancing everything. So I thought that was really good storytelling.
Yeah.
My thing is this too, like with the scouting areas and stuff like that, where did you guys film this at?
We filmed it in the Chino Hills of Southern California, right next to my house.
Yep.
We were blessed with heavy rainfall in December last year, in January and February and March and April. And the hills
weird.
it was really weird. The hills got greener than I've ever seen them in my life, and just everywhere, like all the trees got lush and stuff. And I just remember when we were looking for locations for Dixieland, we kept thinking like, oh, we're gonna have to go up into the mountains, or we're gonna have to show very little scenery, because we can't afford to fly to Virginia or whatever. But I would drive by the mountains in my house. I drive through them, and I just think like, man, this is it. I mean, this looks like back east. Like this could be Virginia. Like this is great. And so I was scouting around a lot, driving around a lot the hills, and then I was driving by this place that I've driven by many times, and I looked up the hills, and I just thought like, that's the spot. Like it's so nice, but it's gated off and everything, and we can't find like I didn't know who owned it or whatever. So I got back home and I made like a little Google pin, send it to Jay, and I was like, this would be like the dream, shooting right here. And then Jay and his
I stepped in
brilliance
and tried to put my producer hat on, and I started researching. My thought was, well, maybe there are lots of land that a real estate agent can own, and I stumbled on a real estate agent that was sitting on like, what was it, 2 acres, maybe 3 acres, something like that.
More. It was quite a bit. Yeah,
it's quite a healthy amount of land. And so I emailed him out and said, hey, crazy idea, but would you possibly be open to us filming on your land with an exchange of whatever fee and free publicity? We'll take pictures for you, that sort of thing. And they were really accommodating. They were really into it.
Oh, nice.
And they let us shoot there for free. All we had to do was take a few, like take some images for them and stuff. And especially in California, where permits and shooting outside anywhere can be an incredible challenge, getting to shoot on private land for free for your film is an absolute godsend. So it was
amazing,
borderline miracle for us.
And yeah, we and they were super nice people. They were really excited to have us there. They were calling me up the day after, asking, how it all went, make sure it all went okay. And I was like, yeah, it went great. You guys don't owe us anything, like,
okay, great. That's fine with me. I mean, hey, all you have to do is just pay basically your staff or whatever that you have on board, and that makes it a whole lot easier on you.
Yeah, saved loads of money. So that was great.
But I just want to say this: you always put love and care into everything that you're doing, and I can see it through Alone. I can see it through this movie. This movie sticks with you and everything, just like how Alone did and things like that. But what other things have you guys are thinking about trying out next?
Funny you should ask. So we have a miniseries we're developing, miniseries and TV show we're developing off of Dixieland. And that's earlier stages where it's the strikes are affecting some of that, so we're just but we're developing right now, kind of getting the groundwork laid.
The idea is just simple, but every season would tell a new or focus on a new corner of American history. We kind of nicknamed it Americana for
Kind of like
now.
an anthology kind of series.
Exactly.
Yes,
We kind of call
exactly.
it like if Ryan Murphy were to make American History Story, it would be this show where every season would be something else, but you keep the same core cast that you can reuse in new roles over and over again, and just explore different areas and time and stories that don't normally get told. And
a lot of fun.
yeah, we think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So we're doing
I like
that.
that idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a great idea. Like,
yeah, because I never seen a war piece with an anthology kind of thing to it, and or anything like that. And I love anthology series.
Yeah,
like that. Look at Black Mirror, for instance. That's actually some of my other favorite things to watch is anthology series.
Yeah,
and I think that's actually a perfect way to go about it. And of course, with me being a history nerd and stuff, yeah, this is right up my alley.
Oh,
shoving popcorn in my face all the time.
We think it would be a huge hit. So yeah, but we're working on that, and then we have another sci-fi feature actually that we've started developing together. Jay's written a proof of concept short that we're hoping to shoot pretty soon here. It's just a short 6-pager, but this one is all deep space with ensemble cast. Think like Hunt for Red October in space, like very.
That's literally the pitch.
Yeah, that's it. That's all we have to say.
Okay. So I know we talked about this a little bit in the green room before we got started, but what has been like for you as far as the film festivals go and things like that?
Well, I mean, we've gotten into several really good ones. We got LA Shorts, Holly Shorts. We're in Film Quest now. We've submitted Dixieland to more festivals than we did with Alone or any other. So it's an interesting process because Jay and I, we didn't experience this with Alone because we didn't submit to as many. We were like very strategic with exactly the few that we submitted to. So this one, like because of that higher quantity, we're also experiencing just a higher quantity of rejections. Like, we're getting more acceptances, but also more rejections. So there's just like the whiplash is
a little bit more high and low.
Yeah,
steady stream. It's our emotions are getting bamboozled a bit on this one, but we know we have a good film, and every festival has its own needs and various peculiarities as far as what it's trying to program. So we're not trying not to sweat it too much.
No, and the festivals we've been in have been such great experiences, and the festival directors we've met have been just awesome. Like it's been like every festival's been a really great experience, and so I mean it's exciting to think about where we'll be going in the future with it. So yeah.
And I can actually understand the high tide and low tide of trying to pitch something, because whenever I reach out to sponsorships and everything, I have to pitch my own podcast. So I get hundreds of rejection letters all the time and stuff like that too. So I can definitely relate on the high tide and low tide of something, especially when you put a lot of effort and love into something. And I thought because of this thing being like a period piece that people would actually be a magnetic force going right into it, because and to quote my good friend Western Wonder, you know what they say about those war movies. So because it has such gravitas towards it, where you can care about the characters, you can care about the development of it. You're wondering where the story is going to go. You're not sure. This guy's on the verge of dying. You're not sure if Tony's going to go in and kill him, or vice versa. You're introduced to this character for the same amount of time that Tony is introduced to this character. So I like how it resonates with the audience, though, too, where it's like, okay, well, just as Tony thinks that this guy's a stranger, we're also considering this guy a stranger, too, because he's only been introduced to our lives in 5 minutes. So therefore, we're feeling the same kind of emotion that Tony's feeling. So I like that. I like it when directors treat the audience smart and everything like that, because other than just showing us everything all at one time, like, because it could have been very easy for you to be like, well, okay, we're going to go in here, we're going to show Tony, then we're going to show this other guy. No, I like how you go on, you see Tony, he's trying to survive, trying to get out of this whole entire thing, and he winds up running into this other guy who happens to be a complete stranger. They don't know each other from Adam. And I like how you don't show us everything or anything like that. You allow the character to express everything through emotion, through through their eyes, and through everything like that. I think that's the perfect way of actually doing a movie.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, we tried really beyond the dialogue, playing in those quiet moments, coming up with little micro beats, where they little things they could do, and then and the actors just kind of came up with that in the moment too. Just that, I had nothing to do with it. They were just
so much like them crafting their own internal life and what they were thinking about too is pretty crazy to watch them come up with their process.
But yeah, to your point too, though, I that is one of the elements of the script I enjoy also is we're very much experiencing this from Tony's perspective. So when he goes into that cave and sees this soldier, we don't know anything more about this guy than he does, and we it's things are slowly revealed. And I really like that element of discovery with storytelling where you can kind of spend your time peeling back layers and revealing things, and I always find that really fascinating, because in life our own perspectives change all the time, and a movie is a really fun way to experience that in a kind of compressed timeline. So yeah, it's always fun.
Now my last question for you guys is this, okay, what were some of the challenging stuff that you actually had to go through with filming this? Because we talked about all the easy aspects in a sense, but what was some of the hardest?
You got another hour? Or
I know.
Yeah, I can do this for 2 hours, guys.
Well, on day one we got a couple hours behind, which was rough. Just through a combination of many elements. Some missed judgment calls on my part, and next thing you knew, we're 2.5 hours behind and had the whole thing to shoot.
Now I just want to iterate that does happen. So
it does happen.
It's just some things with the set design come up where you realize you have to kind of pivot your plan really hardcore, and that takes time to adjust. And William and our incredible AD Hope, together, managed to get back on track on the schedule. So
and we wrapped about going
behind. You guys did incredible on that.
Yeah, we didn't go over at all. Got the coverage and just adapted. But that was a massive challenge. We broke for lunch, and I was just like, I felt like I was just gonna throw up. I was so nervous because we were just so behind.
And we had tacos. That sucks. I wanted you to be able to enjoy the food we got.
I ate it because I needed the energy, and they were really good tacos. Awesome. I remember how
very good tacos.
It's always good to have tacos on Taco Tuesday. Just saying.
Yes,
or Taco Saturday. Every day is a taco day as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. We had good catering on the second day too. That meal came out. It was late, but it was good. And then
the other big thing.
It was really day one with the challenges. Day two, when we were doing all the stuff outdoors, it was kind of like a field trip. We got this group of reenactors to come out with their muskets, and it was just so much fun. We didn't have a lot of stuff to cover, and we had a really good time. Day one though was just staying on track, staying on schedule. There was a sound someone doing construction right next door.
As poor William's trying to direct his film, I'm the producer trying to run around with like a chicken with his head cut off, trying to put out fires, and someone in the big building we were in filming that cave scene had decided it was a great day to build a couch, and they were in an isolated location behind a locked door where you couldn't get in touch with them. You couldn't ask them to stop. And then someone else started sewing something in a nearby alcove. So I actually went and had a lovely conversation through Google Translate with them to figure out how to maybe not sew something during our take.
Yeah.
So it's just constant sound things were popping up around us that we had to fight through. The actors had to fight through and did a great job doing so. And the sound we got, considering all those challenges, I was pretty shocked how clean the sound was.
I mean, a lot of that is our on-set sound mixer Guillermo, just doing a really good job, diligently always capturing as clean audio as he can, and our post sound mixer Stephen Hartwell and his whole team at Freshmade up in Seattle, stellar work. Stephen's pulling bits of dialogue, pieces of words from other takes and stitching them all together and making clean lines. Like I don't know. I mean, it's remarkable what our sound team pulled off on this. Really top notch, guys. So yeah.
How long did it take you guys to do the mine tunnel? How long did it take you to build that set?
To do the what?
To do the little tunnel scene. How long did it take you guys to build that? That's something I wanted.
You know what?
Because I know that had to be challenging.
Our production designer Alan had a set he has. It's a modular set built up of a bunch of different pieces of walls, and so he can rearrange them however, to build whatever kind of shaped room you need. So he rearranged them into kind of a mine shaft, tunnel sort of thing, and he got some wooden beams and put those up, and all said and done, it took really just like a few hours for him to pull that all together.
Because he had it all there. In fact, that was kind of a big missing piece in us even filming it all together. Is we had wasted a ton of time trying to make this a full outdoor shoot, alluding back to our issues with finding land in California and all that.
Yep.
And at one point, it struck one of us. I think it was me, whoever, but like we realized, wait a minute, Alan has a standing cave set. What if we tweak the script so all that stuff happening between them is not over a campfire outdoors, but it's in this cave, and we just make it work for the story? And that was like the one thing that really fell into place for everything to come together.
Once we figured that out, it was a go. We went and did it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Poor Jay, though, has to keep on slipping notes underneath someone's door to try and stop him from doing a couch and everything.
Please stop constructing. Please stop doing your work. I beg of you. It's fine. More gray is now my beard post-shoot, but for the most part, I came out unscathed.
Gotcha. But, guys, that's going to be it as far as anything that I have for questions for this film. Please don't be a stranger here. Send out any emails that you want to, and I'll review it. Seriously. Even if you don't have anything to promote, come on the show or whatever. We'll review a movie. We'll do a little movie news or something, or just talk. I'm fine with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys are very welcome. And my other thing is, too, is I do have people that actually comment in the comment sections and be like, well, I want to check this film out, but I know this is going through several different things. It's going to be a little bit before people can see this. But if you guys can, whenever that's ready for a public release, let me know. And what I'll do is I'll comment below and I'll pin it to the comment section so people can check it out, because I've actually been doing that with several other films that I've reviewed, because people are like, well, I like what you're saying, but I want to see it. So so whenever it's released to the public, let me know and I'll be glad to post it.
Cool.
Absolutely will.
Thank you. Yeah, we will.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it as for this review goes. Tomorrow night, Rossi will be back with 2 of her shows. For Rossi talks about everything in between. So go on ahead, check her out. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to give us a 5-star review wherever you guys get your podcast from. And yes, I prefer 10, even though it was only 5 stars. But yes, I'm an overachiever. So go ahead, give me a 10-star review or a 5-star review. Tell me what you guys think about Movie Lovers Unite. And also, too, if you guys have a chance, check out Dixieland whenever you guys can. And always, until next time, guys, we'll see you guys on the next one. See ya. See you guys.